What's up, guys? This is Manafest. Welcome to the I'm a Fighter podcast. This is episode number 9.
It's too late, it's my fate, I can't turn around. There's no fear in the mirror to hold me down.
Hey, back in the studio. Hope you guys are doing great, man. The I'm a Fighter podcast, where we want to inspire, entertain, educate, and just learn some stuff, man, and get inspired here and hanging out. I want to thank you guys for listening today. I just got back from a little surf session. I got blown around on the waves and totally smashed up my elbow, had a bloody elbow, and I was just like, man, I felt out of control. And, when you feel out of control, it's like, okay, it's time to go back in. And I think I was just maybe a little tired. It was kind of cold out there this morning for California. You hear me complaining about the cold in California, but it was kind of for Cali. And so I was just like, man, I don't want to get hurt more than I already am. And it was just kind of getting caught out there and getting whipped around by the waves and having to paddle out again. And so I was just like, forget this, man, I'm going in. And I waited for my buddy and watched him catch some waves and chill out. But yeah, man, good week. I just saw the album cover for the new record, The Moment, and so stoked to be able to work with Ryan Clark from Invisible Creature, who's also the lead singer of Demon Hunter. Super talented guys, and just crushed it. I don't know when you're listening to this podcast if we released it to the public yet, but it is pretty dope, man. I'm standing on the edge of this city looking over on the top of a building, and it just looks kind of crazy. We superimposed it and took 2 photos and put the other one in. I don't know how he did it, but he made it look real and cool. So on this podcast, I wanted to talk about getting started in the music business. And I was just like, man, where do I start? There's just so much to talk about. And so I'm going to call this part 1 of getting started in the music business, because there's just so many jobs, there's so many avenues, and I want to kind of speak about it from an artist's point of view. I got started in the music industry when I was about 18 years old. I hurt myself skateboarding, as you guys know, and that's how I got into writing songs, because I had nothing to do. My whole life felt like it was falling apart, and I got dumped by a girlfriend at the same time, and my friends invited me to this youth church night, this banquet, and I only went because I knew there were going to be girls there, and I ended up seeing this rap performance on stage that was just awesome. And I was like, this is cool, man. And so I went and hung out with the guys afterwards and sat at their table and started drilling them with questions and asking them about writing songs and hip hop. And, there was breakdancing going on that night. And I was just so intrigued. And these guys were a little older than me too. And I was just inspired. And so I started to write songs with them and write lyrics. And I started to buy vinyls, and they showed me how to write raps and record them onto a tape deck. Yes, a tape deck, cassette recorder, and microphone. Pretty ghetto, pretty old school, but that's how we did it. And I ended up just having a huge passion and a huge love for it. And, for those of you who don't know, I hated music class in public school because I was forced to play the trumpet. And you know what? That's cool if you play, in the symphony, or you play in the big band or whatever. But for me, man, it was just a terrible experience. So the fact that I still somehow came 360 degrees again and was able to actually do music as a career is humorous to me. And I think God has a great sense of humor. But so in this podcast, I'm going to talk about the idea from an artist and being an artist in the industry. Because yes, you can be in the music business and social media marketing, being a manager, being a booking agent, be a publicist, or there's just so many other jobs, working in the publishing industry and, TV and film, syncs. There's so much I could literally go on. But I want to talk about being an artist, whether that's singing songs or playing, the guitar or playing an instrument, and being that person that's on stage or songwriting or singing, And if I was to break this down into 3 steps, Step 1 would be, first you got to overcome the fear and doubt. When I first started writing lyrics, immediately it was like, well, how can I be the one doing this? Why should I be able to do this? And really, is that fit me? Can I really write songs? And you got to come to the place where it's like, why not? Why not you? Why can't you be that person singing? Why can't you be that person performing or writing hit songs and rocking out on stage or playing, live in this big symphony and just being that person, or being that person behind the boards, recording, those songs and producing great beats or tracks and stuff? Why can't that be you? And I think sometimes we just can't see it for ourselves, but we can see it for other people. And maybe we have to overcome that fear that we think we'll fail, or we'll think it won't work out, or we'll get made fun of. Well, step one is just overcoming that stuff, overcoming that doubt, and just stepping out and trying. In my fighter book, sorry for the shameless plug here, but I talk about that and the idea of taking courage and just stepping out and going for it and saying, who cares, man? The best part when I first started writing and doing lyrics and performing was the fact that I didn't know what I was doing. I was terrible. I sucked. I was the worst out of all my friends. But you know what? The cool thing was I was learning, and I just soaked up everything like a sponge. I would just ask these guys question after question. I'd say, hey, check out this rhyme. And I remember I would call friends up on the phone. I'd be like, hey, dude, can you just listen to this rhyme and let me know if it's good or not? Okay, and I'd spit the rhyme. And by the way, never walk up to an artist, especially me, please, and spit a rhyme in my ear. Nobody gets signed that way, and it's just really annoying and frustrating. Sorry, I just wanted to save you the hassle. If you do have a demo, hand it to the guy, record something and hand it to someone. Don't spit in the ear. But anyways, when I first started, I would call my friends up. I'd say, dude, check out this rhyme. And they'd tell me if it was good or not. I'd be like, go work on that or go rewrite that. But I didn't know what I was doing. And so it was awesome because I was just learning so much. And I didn't even care if people were better. I was glad they were better because I was learning. I've even heard it say, in business and life, if you're the best or most talented in that room, it's time to switch rooms. Because you always want to be people that or be around people that are farther along than you, because you want to keep learning. And I think we always need to be students first, learning. And life, when it comes to just life period, you always want to be learning. And so it's funny, after 7 albums recorded for me, I'm still learning. I'm still learning something new, working on the new record right now, and I'm getting challenged and critiqued. And, Chris, why don't you try this, man? Why don't you switch it up and kind of get out of the box a little bit? Challenge yourself not to do the same things over and over again. But the first step is just to get out there and start. Start and write or do whatever it is and get out there and overcome that fear and doubt, because you can do this. You can be that person writing it. So that's step one. Step two, if I was to sit down with you, for coffee or to talk over the phone or, do a consulting session or something like that, I would ask you some questions. I'd say, what's your purpose or your mission? Why do you want to do this? And I know that sounds all, psychology type of stuff and all mind stuff, but no, really, why do you want to do it? What's your purpose of wanting to get into music and to write or perform? What's your purpose? Do you want to be famous? Do you want to make a lot of money? Do you want to reach people with a message? I'd probably ask you, what genre or style of music do you want to play or sing? Do you want to do hip hop? Do you want to do country? Do you want to do rock? Do you want to do singer-songwriter stuff? Do you want to be a pianist? Do you want to, play in the violin? My lawyer's wife actually plays in some really big symphonies in Orange County, and she gets paid really, really well to do it. And the other thing is, do you even want to make money at it, or you just want to do it, with your church or as some charity, or, do you want to do it full time as a career? These are questions you want to ask yourself, before you get into it, just so you can kind of know where you want to go and what it is you want to do. Do you want to tour, or do you want to stay at home? Because touring, that lifestyle is super busy, and you can get caught up in it, and that you're just on the road, 200 plus days out of the year, and there's sacrifices and things that, have to be made to live that lifestyle. Some people only, bands I've heard to say, I'll only play 50 or 70 shows a year, that's it. Some it's less, some it's more. Say, we only play 100 and that's it. But these are questions you want to ask yourself, do you, what name do you want to go by? Do you want to be, go by your real name, or do you want to have a stage name? Obviously my real name's Christopher Greenwood, but I go by the stage name Manafest. Or do you want to be in a band? Are you going to get together with a group of guys, or do you want to be a solo act? these are some questions, I would ask yourself. And just going back to that one of, do you want to do it for the money, fame, or a message? And honestly, I think that, you can work all three of those together. If you make music, you can get a message out there, you can make money, and yes, there's fame that goes along. And if your purpose is to get famous so that you can get a message out there, that's a great way to influence people and make a difference in the world. And music is an awesome way to get a message out there and have a platform. That was actually the main reason I got into it originally. I remember going to Bible camp, and I remember God gave me this vision, and you got to understand, this is before I even released my first EP, but I was just like, I want to use this music as a platform so I can tell my friends about Jesus, man. I want to share God. I want to talk about his love. And to be honest, I wasn't planning on going into all this on this episode, but, the whole idea of writing and reaching, and if you do want to get a message out there, as you practice and you get into writing, you want to write real. You want to write what's on your heart. You want to do it in a way where it can connect to the most people as possible. And for me, when I first started writing, it was super preachy, and it wasn't really real, and it was just like, I was like preaching at people, and it wasn't really cool, and I had to figure out a way to tell my story through music and through the lyrics in a way where people would get it. And that's really what we're talking about here, is telling your story. That's what it's about, is sharing a story, sharing an experience over music. And it's a beautiful and it's amazing thing. So let's go over step 1 and 2 here. Step 1, overcome the fear and the doubt. Step 2, what's your purpose? Why are you doing this? What is it you want to accomplish with it? And then number 3, start writing, start playing, don't wait, for anything to happen. Start writing lyrics. Pick up or buy a guitar, or go someplace where you can get a piano and you can, where you can get one free. Growing up in the church, a lot of this stuff was, readily accessible, but I'm sure, you can find an instrument, or you can start programming stuff on your computer or playing the drums or whatever. But just start, start today and make an effort to write as much as you can each day, because if you want to get started in the music industry, it all comes down to the songs. You got to have songs, you got to be able to play, and so you want to work and critique on that. Sometimes we want to jump ahead of everything, but when it comes down to it, when I'm talking with artists or talking about people who want to get involved, it's like, okay, play me your songs. What do you got for me? Can you play me something? Oh, I don't have anything. I don't have anything recorded. I don't have anything written. So you want to write something. You want to record something. You want to work on your chops as an artist and be able to play so that you can get involved. So if there's an opportunity for you to sing somewhere, if there's an opportunity for you to play somewhere, do you have some songs you can sing? Have you ever sung before? Like my first show was at my home church, and it was terrible, and I actually have it on tape, and I might actually release it one day, probably not. But just go wherever you can to get that experience, maybe at school, or college, or at a karaoke, bar, or at an open mic. Open mics are great. Look online, Craigslist, to see if you can find some friends where you can jam out with if you're a guitarist and you don't want to be the front man or whatnot. You just want to kind of play the background. But I encourage you just to start, and for those songwriters out there that like to write lyrics or raps or whatever, I encourage you to check out Jason Bloom's 6 Steps to Songwriting Success, and I'll put a link in the show notes here where you can get that pretty cheap on Amazon.com. But the key is, man, let's just go over this again. Number 1, overcome the fear and the doubt. Why not you, man? Why not? I used to say to people like, man, if I can rap and sing, anybody can rap and sing. Number 2, knowing why you want to do it. Again, I talk in the Fighter book about willpower and knowing, what your purpose is so that it's bigger than you are, so that you'll stick it out. You'll stick it out and you won't give up. And then number 3, just start writing. Start thinking about some like song topics or different things that you can write down, or just start jamming out some different melodies and put pieces together, and just, get in there every day. Be in the studio, be creating, set some goals that you're going to create a few hours a day. Many times I didn't even go out when I was first starting. I wanted to get better at songwriting so bad that I stayed in one night on New Year's Eve, and that was kind of like my owed to myself to say, hey man, I want this so bad. I'm spending New Year's Eve on myself to write and to keep getting better. And that reminds me of something I really want to share with you guys. It's a big surprise that I've been working on for a long time. I've been thinking about this, praying about it, and that is a course that I just created for young artists, inspiring artists, and it's called Launching Your Career as an Artist. You know, like I shared in this podcast, I really didn't know what I was doing. I made a lot of mistakes. You know, I've lost thousands of dollars and, you know, gone through some pain and struggle. And so I've created a course for you guys to help conquer that fears, to get you started writing songs, writing lyrics, how to write a chorus, you know, picking a stage name and knowing what your genre is and knowing what your message is. And I talk about setting up your studio. And one of the most important ones, I talk about hiring a producer, someone to take your songs from good and make them great. And I would say that's the single most important thing that helped with my career is the songwriting and having great songs. And you know, I wouldn't be where I am today. And so I haven't mentioned this anywhere else on my social media, nowhere else. This is just for you guys only. Wanted to kind of put it out there and conquering some of my own fears. And you know, really, this is just my opportunity because I just really wanted to give back. You know, I've really been blessed. There's just been so many people in my life, you know, that have poured into me, taught me things, and saved me, you know, a lot of hassle. Yes, I've had my struggles, but I would have had even more if it wasn't for the people, you know, in my life that poured into me. So we created this course. It's over 2 hours of content, of video. There's, you know, different screen videos of stuff, and you can watch all the different lessons and go through it at your own pace, and you have lifetime access to this. And there's actually a 30-day money-back guarantee because we are charging $50 for this course. But the cool thing is I'm giving you guys a 50% off coupon when you type in the code FIGHTERPODCAST. And the link to this course, it's called Launching Your Career as an Artist, and you can get to it by going to udemy.com. That's udemy.com/makemusic. So udemy.com/makemusic. And I totally want to hear what you guys think about it, man. Like, this is just my first time doing something like this. It's a, you know, beginner to intermediate course. I share a whole bunch of stuff in there, and eventually, you know, maybe if you're farther along, and if this, you know, goes well, I'm thinking of doing one that's a little bit more intense with like, you know, more marketing stuff and record labels and booking agents and kind of the more in-depth stuff. But this is kind of just my first step to kind of, you know, see what people think and see what you guys think. And again, my goal is just, you know, just want to help people. That's why we made it really affordable, so that people can just get access to the information and hopefully help them. Well, hey, we're going to end that podcast today, and please rate the podcast, leave a comment, review, let me know what you think, you know, because I do this for you guys, man, and I want to make sure I'm putting out content there that you guys want to hear. Please leave a review or a question in the iTunes comments there if there's something that you want me to address or talk on. Would love to hear that. The song I want to play right now for you is off my album Fighter, and it's Pushover.
pushover. You don't know me now, you don't know me now. I'm not a pushover, I'm not a push. You don't know me now, you don't know me now. I'm not a pushover, I'm not a pushover. You can't feel these shoes, you can't make me move. I'm not a pushover, I'm not a pushover. You never know, you don't know me now. I'm not a pushover, I'm not a pushover.